Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. I am the Crypto Crow. I am live. I'm going to hang out a bit today. I'm going to do an AMA, ask me anything kind of deal, and we're going to see what's going on in the crypto space. I've been just, doing what I do, just working on stuff, still getting the house situated, getting unpacking, getting the office set up, getting all my equipment set up. While just kind of checking out what's going on in the space. Obviously, it hasn't been too exciting in crypto price action. So I'm like, you know what? It's September. I'm not pressed. I'm just going to let things fall where they may, and see what's going on. What's going on, Eric, Alex? What's going on? Welcome. I know it's been a while since I've been live. I've done some interviews. I have some stuff that I've recorded. What is the date today? The 4th. So yeah, I've got some stuff coming, and yeah, I mean, it's just there's just so much. I'm supposed to be having a call about Wargram here soon. We got some updates on funding, because I think we're still trying to get some capital so that we can get this thing to where we know it can be, where we want it to be. But got some stuff I have registered. I've set up myself up as a Cardano DRep, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And I've got a bunch of questions that I'm going to answer for people as it relates to being a DRep. And so, yeah, we'll just jump into it a little bit, and then I'm going to start hitting up questions in the chat and so forth. So Ethereum faces a bearish storm with a 30% price drop and $476 million ETF exodus. So I see a lot of the narrative related to Cardano, right? Because people are like, "Oh, look at Cardano. Chang hard fork went live, and the price is going down. Isn't that funny?" The entire market's coming down. Like, people, the ignorance that I see all over the place right now, it just blows my mind. And I don't mean that as an insult. It, to some extent, it's intentional ignorance, in the sense that they know better, but they say other shit anyway, just because, out of spite or whatever. Very childish. It's like watching children play. And it is what it is. You can't you can't do a whole hell of a lot about that. But when I see people that really just don't know any better making comments like this, I want to reach out. I want to say, listen, let me give you like a 2-hour course, because I need to teach you what's really happening. And yeah, so I'm seeing some of the comments in the chat, and I'm going to address those, because I think some of it's funny. I think some of you guys are overreacting about things, but we're going to touch on it. Ethereum has faced a challenging month following a 30% drop in July, with $476 million in outflows from its ETFs. The Grayscale Ethereum Trust unlocked the massive sale, 410,000 Ethereum by large holders, have intensified market pessimism. Currently, Ethereum is priced at $2,485, with a slight daily recovery of 1.9%, but it registers 12.2 in a monthly loss. Everything has been going down right now. I just think we're in a position where politically everything is up in arms. Nobody knows what's going to happen. I think the world has gone crazy. I think that we're seeing so much news about so many different crazy things happening in the world, and it's just got everybody really concerned. And I really think that's what it boils down to. We saw what am I thinking of? Nvidia stock just got wiped out, and they're getting hit with some sort of antitrust case now, because I get something like 90% of the microchips or whatever, like Nvidia owns or controls or something like that. I mean, it's pretty redunculous. There's just a lot of turmoil going on. A lot of people are concerned. I mean, the interest rate thing, 50 bip rate cut in September is likely, per Citibank. Just like this comment says, Citibank doesn't know anything. So we'll see. But the thing is they put out like annual and quarterly reports about what's coming and what's expected, so that they can kind of alert all their branches. And they're not the only ones. A lot of these banking groups do the same thing. So it's interesting, but I definitely expect to see interest rates get cut this month. How much, we don't know. It's going to be at least 25 basis points, could be 50, should be 50 probably, but we'll see. Nobody knows 100%. Now, what was the other thing? Oh, okay. This is the website. I created this page about me being a DRep for Cardano, and created a fun little graphic. It's got all the different flags of all the different countries and stuff, because Cardano's global, man. This isn't a US based thing, right? And I made a note: delegating voting power to a DRep does not affect your node staking. So I've got my DRep ID down here, and then I've got a guide on this page explaining how to delegate your voting power to moi if you so chose. And I'm actually kind of excited about this. Because in a way, this is going to help me in a lot of different ways. Pretty sure there's absolutely no like financial incentive to be a DRep. It's not why I'm doing it. But as somebody who has been really focused on decentralization and what that means on a grand scale, and now being able to play a certain role in that decentralized nature of Cardano, I find it empowering. I find it interesting. And ultimately, it'll push me to dive deeper into a lot of things that maybe I otherwise wouldn't, which will ultimately help me put out better content over time, honestly. But yeah, being able to play a big role in the decentralization of Cardano outside of just being a node operator, which that I think is going to start getting a lot more exciting as well moving forward, especially once midnight starts to hit and there's more going on with midnight. So there is a link in the description below. I will say, though, everybody's using Eternal Wallet right now, because I think Eternal Wallet's the only one that has added the functionality for all of the governance. And the current version of the wallet won't let you delegate to a DRep unless you're using the web version of it. If you go to their website directly and do that, because that has version, I think it's 1.12.12, which is the latest version. If you're using like 1.12.9, you'll get a little error saying it's an invalid DRep ID. And so that's posing some issues. But this isn't even technically, from what I understood, this isn't even technically supposed to be up and running yet. They're just trying to get ahead of the curve, which is actually smart. But there is a bug. So they're working that out. And it does work if you're using their website, but if you're using like the browser-based plugin, if you look at the bottom of the browser, if it says 1.12.9, you're probably not going to be able to delegate. When you do delegate to a rep, and you are able to pull that off, it does not affect your staking. So, if hypothetically you've delegated your ADA to like the Crow node or whatever node that you're into, this is a completely different thing. So, and you can even see on the tabs where it says, Catalyst project funding, blockchain governance. It's its own tab, its own system. It has nothing to do with like what you're staking on a node. Okay, so don't worry about that. It's a completely different thing. All you're basically doing, and I don't even know how many of you understand like kind of this part of the decentralization. So basically what it boils down to is you've got all these ADA holders all over the place, right? And if you think about it as a government, let's say one of you has 100 ADA, okay, and then maybe another one of you has like 400 ADA. And then somebody else has like 200,000 ADA, blah, 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 right? It's just down the list. Potentially all of you can vote yourself, right? Like you can keep up with all of the proposals. You can potentially vote yourself. But as a DRep is ultimately somebody that you trust to do the due diligence on proposed changes, to proposed projects, looking for funding, whatever it is. And there's going to be 100 of us. So there's going to be 100 DReps in Cardano. And now you're going to see people campaigning, saying, hey, delegate your voting power to me. This is what I believe. This is what I'm about, etc. This is how I'm going to vote and represent you. And ultimately, that's what it is. A DRep is ultimately your voice. It's empowering somebody that you believe has your best interest in mind to vote the way you would likely vote, but maybe you don't have the time to keep up with everything. You're not as invested, that sort of thing. So that's really what it boils down to. And you know, I've had a lot of people send me messages saying, Crow, you got to be a DRep. You got to be a DRep. Why aren't you a DRep? Why haven't I seen anything about your DRep? I want to vote for you. And you know, I thought about it for a while and I thought, you know, I don't know if I should. But you know, the more I looked into it and the more I really understood the system and the more I understood like the expectations of a lot of you guys and gals out there, the more I thought, you know what, I should do it. Like of all people, I should definitely be a DRep. Having been in Cardano since 2017, my entire channel is basically all about Cardano and different apps and trading and things. It'd be kind of silly if I weren't a DRep. And I do think it's going to help in a lot of different regards. So I am going to be a DRep. And you know, maybe, you know, I don't know. I don't even know how much you need to be voted and you know, to be one of the top 100 to become an official DRep. But you know, we'll see. I can't even vote for myself because there's no way for me to do it outside of Eternal yet. So and I need to wait for the browser plugin to get situated so that all of you guys can vote for whoever you want. And I will say too, there are a lot of qualified potential DReps out there. Okay. So like this isn't a zero-sum game. You know, if I'm elected in as a DRep, wonderful. I'm going to do the best job I can. I'm always right sometimes. But you know, joking aside, there are others out there that are running that, you know, out of 100, I'm pretty sure we're all going to get a seat. Is my guess. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's going to be a really big deal, and you know, so yeah, that's that. So let me take a look at some other stuff here real quick. I'm going to plug in. Bingo, bango, bingo, bango. All right, so this is my DRep ID. It's right on my Twitter as well. So if you follow me on Twitter, you can pull it out there. Make sure you join my Substack. I'm going to be writing some pretty big stuff here coming up. And only 2.8 thousand views on this post. What's funny is that other stuff that I've done. Oh, there I am live on Twitter with 254 people on there. So with other stuff that I've done relating to the DRep, there's like 8, 10, 12,000, something like that, like a lot of views. So I guess that just needs to catch up. And I'm also curious too how my stream is looking for everybody. If you could let me know, because you know, a lot of the stuff is newly set up and I want to make sure that everything is good and it's high quality and all of that. John Deaton won his primary and will now face off against Elizabeth Warren. So this is a really big deal. Boy, I tell you what, every time this woman speaks, I just think of a crazy, greedy cat lady who like, rawr. I can't stand her at all. And like everything she's done, her approach to trying to hurt crypto and Operation Choke Point and all that, I'm just like, man, this woman needs to go. So we'll see. John Deaton, hopefully he wins and he beats her. That would be really, really cool. That'd be really bullish news for crypto if he did. So all right. Now I posted something here. A lot of big, fun, good stuff going on with Cardano. I've got a throbbing headache, which is why I've had a headache for days. I'm supposed to be getting an Iagon miner here soon with the crow on it. They let me design it and everything, and I'm curious to see that. I haven't seen it yet. And this is going to be badass. This Rocket by JPEG Store. You guys got to watch this interview. I know some of you love watching interviews. Some of you don't. Some of you are always hounding me saying, you need to do more interviews. And then I do them and they don't get as many views. This is a really good one with Travis Bailey, who he explains a lot about Rocket. What it is it's basically going to be Cardano's version of Pump.Fun, but done with guide rails so that there's like less rugging and less like degen activity going on. pretty badass. It's pretty cool. And so yeah, you got to watch that because that's a really good listen, listen or watch or whatever you want to do. All right, so there's 24 questions here as they relate to. I haven't even gone through all these. I've just been letting them go, and I figure I'm going to answer some of these questions. I'm going to ignore the ones I don't, like a politician. And if I get into too much trouble, I want to call somebody else to sit next to me and help me. Because I can't always think for myself. That's asking too much. What is the one thing about Cardano that you would change if you had the chance to? What's the one thing I would change if I had the chance to? Well, for one, I would like to see I would actually like to see some of some of the treasury be allotted to an actual PR marketing firm with a lot of power, because that's one of the main things we've been missing for a long time. Like literally everything that's been associated with Cardano has happened organically for the most part. I mean, to my knowledge. And, so many people in the crypto space are used to seeing a lot of paid narratives, right? And I think that the greed in the space is such that, people just do not care how numbers go up as long as they do. They're like, oh, the rest could get sorted, leave it for somebody else to deal with. It's almost like politics, it's like they basically do whatever to feed themselves and get what they want. And they're like, leave the problems for other people to sort out. I just want what I want now. I don't care about everyone else. And I see that mentality all over the place. And, but we need a strong PR firm, and we need to be able to start offering marketing support for quality applications. And I don't just mean like Twitter ads or just, we need big people, a part of the Cardano ecosystem, going on big podcasts and going on shows and, starting to build the brand outside of just the crypto space. But in order to effectively do that, we also need quality projects that will bring in the mainstream users. And so that's really the catch. But ultimately, we need a team and a system to start doing that. So that's one of the things that I would change pretty much immediately at this point. We also need people to understand the differences between, a centralized blockchain and decentralized blockchain. And I don't just mean, centralized, like all of the stuff is stored on a ledger system on these 3 computers in some office somewhere, and like this is a distributed ledger all over the world. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people have been looking at Cardano with the expectations of it acting like a centralized blockchain with centralized control, limited venture capital, a small number of hands with lots of money pushing it, driving the narrative, buying ads, basically doing things that a centralized blockchain does, right, to try and pump up its own value, and through that hoping for adoption. Cardano's done the opposite. They've done no real marketing. They've done none of that. They've just been building all of these tools and continuing to build all of these tools that will be used by a lot of applications and countries and things like that. But people don't really fully understand a lot of it. And there's a lot of missing information, because trying to just listen to Charles talk about something for 2 hours, it's almost impossible. I don't know if I've ever talked to anybody, including developers, you name it, who find it easy to follow a conversation with Charles. You ask him a question about the color blue, and by the time he's done, he's gone through, every color on the spectrum and explained like so many different things that it's hard to rein Charles in. He just loves to spew knowledge. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but when you're really one of the few spokespeople for a blockchain trying to explain how things work, things need to be dumbed down for the average end user to understand its value. That's not good. That's not something Charles is good at. And so it's difficult sometimes when, your brain is operating at a level that, other people just can't quite comprehend. And then it's being proposed as your problem. That's not what I'm saying. I, the mind of Charles and his capabilities and his knowledge and wisdom and all of that stuff as it relates to the blockchain sector, is strong. But we need people that are able to truly tell the story, tell the tale, build these relationships, quantify these relationships, expand on them, and then fulfill them with support, like real support. And so that's pretty much it there. How can a platypus be a mammal but also lay eggs? I think there's something about a platypus. It's like I don't know, like a glitch in the biosystem or whatever. It's like a crossover type of thing. I know there's some sort of weird nuance about a platypus and how it's like a little of both. It's both a mammal and a reptile kind of thing. Good one though. Since I discovered Cardano on some big ass former MMA dude's YouTube channel a couple years ago, I've been asking myself the same question. How can a commercial air conditioning and refrigeration repair guy actually use this technology? Maybe not just as a payment platform. Well, that's actually a really good question. This is definitely not a good day for me to be doing these because just my own voice is making my head throb so bad. If you had any idea how bad my head hurt right now. I just kind of like want to drill a little hole and like release the pressure. But I'm doing this for you guys because it's been so long. But that's just it. There are a lot of different apps that can be developed. I'm actually trying to look into like Cursor and was it Cursor and Replete or something like that, where I want to try and figure out how to build applications using AI and try to really buckle down on doing that and trying to learn how to code some stuff, because waiting on these mercenaries to do anything, like hiring independent programmers is basically like hiring, like, I don't know, man, like it's hard to explain, but it's always a pain in the ass. And I feel like if you want something done right, you got to really try and do it yourself. So yeah, there's an endless number of use cases that have the potential to run on Cardano that are going to be beneficial to the mainstream. But everything has been so focused on the easiest way to obtain money, right? NFTs, meme coins, DeFi, stuff like that. We need to be able to start utilizing Cardano for other things. And I think we're going to start seeing that now, but we'll see. How much is still in the original scope for IOG to finish? Hydra, input endorsers. So I that's the thing. I don't think it's ever going to be finished. No blockchain is really, in my opinion, no blockchain is ever really finished. It's always going to continue expanding, growing, and adding functions, adding throughput, adding scalability options. Like there's always going to be room to grow. Technically, I think once Chang 2 hits, then I guess it would be considered finished, but it's never going to be finished. It's always going to be continuing to expand and grow itself. How do we continue to grow the treasury while investing in key assets? Also, how do we hold accountable projects we fund? That's a good series of questions. That's a very good question. Well, number one, the treasury is always going to continue growing. Every time there are transactions happening, I mean, the treasury itself has grown based off of like trade volume and use. So, I don't remember exactly what the percentage is. It might be 2%. I'm not sure what it is, but a percentage of all the transaction volume on Cardano gets put into the treasury. So it's automatically growing. It's growing as we speak. It's been growing since inception. And ultimately that treasury will continue to expand even more as there's more use, right? So that's one thing. The more applications, the more users we have using it, the more that treasury continues to cycle. From that point, It's a matter of basically maintaining a steady element of growth on chain as it relates to use cases and user base and all of that, marketing and everything, and making sure that we never end up in a deficit, right? So this is all how it all goes into. It's like building a country in a sense. It has its own constitution, DReps, all of this. All of these things are basically like building a decentralized country. This isn't just about building a blockchain, but the very nature of how a decentralized blockchain should work. That's what this is all about. So, how do we hold projects accountable that are funded? That's a really good question. I'm not sure I have a 100% answer yet, because you're always going to have projects that fail. I mean, it's just always going to be the case, especially when you're talking about something, something as powerful as Cardano, as new as blockchain. There are always going to be projects that, this is a really great idea, but for whatever reason, we're not building it out the way we expected to, or we lack the proper funding to take things to a certain level, or whatever the case could be. There are always going to be projects that fail. There's going to be internal team turmoil, and you name it, it's going to happen. So I think there's a difference between projects with a legitimate effort that did what they set out to do, but that just didn't go over well, or maybe it was bad timing or whatever, compared to like projects that are basically launched for the sole purpose of just trying to get some money, and then the projects aren't finished, or whatever the case may be. There's a difference between a legitimate effort to try and build what you set out to build, and then just a full-blown scam. Like, that's the thing. And so how do you I think I bit the hell out of my cheek or something recently. um Yeah, I must have did something in my sleep. That's not good. Uh, what's the future for Crow Token? Um, a lot of my plans with Crow Token really evolve around Cornucopias and like my land and what I plan on doing as far as like building my own internal kind of ecosystem within Copy. Um, and then of course potentially with Wargrim, but you know, my partner with Wargrim, it's like I'm not sure what's happening. I bring up Crow Token, and like, hey, I just want to throw some bones. I want to do and he's like, oh well, if you're doing that, we need to distribute Crow Tokens to everyone on the team, and we need to do this, and I want some, and it's just like, that's really not what this is about. It's not about enriching myself. It's about just throwing, like, it's like I'm trying to figure out what to do, right? It's like I'm just trying to figure out, you know, um, I'm still working on it, basically. As I said, it's like I have no idea. When it happens, it happens. If I have an idea that's going to be worthwhile, I'm definitely going to do it. But yeah, I just don't know. I don't know yet. Step by step on how to delegate, I've provided that. There's a link down below with a little guide. It's very, very easy. It's like 3 clicks, a couple password inputs, and you're done. What are Cardano's plans to onboard the masses? Are we going to Field of Dreams, or can we throw the brand into the households like Big Pharma? I will say this. I don't think that I think doing anything like VeChain does with the UFC, like putting your VeChain logo on the fight mat and all, I think that's senseless. It doesn't tell anybody anything. Who the hell knows what VeChain is? I wouldn't have a clue what VeChain is, and I sure as hell wouldn't be like, ooh, VeChain is on the UFC fight mat. I'm going to go look that up and try to understand what it is. And then I find out it's a blockchain something. And especially if I'm not into blockchain. In order to really market effectively, you have to provide a solution or something that people need or want that solves a problem for them. Just promoting Cardano and putting Cardano, like we could put Goodyear blimps all over the country that just say Cardano. That's not going to do anybody any good. People are just going to start ignoring them after a while. You have to provide a solution to a problem, or you have to cater to a need or an interest or a want, and then market that solution, right? This isn't about necessarily marketing Cardano as much as marketing the the use cases, the applications, the things that are built on Cardano, that is what's going to draw people in, right? We've done enough marketing. Enough has gone into marketing to developers for years now, right? Now we're at a point where we've got like 3,000 projects or however many, 1,300, I don't remember exactly. We've got over 1,000 projects being developed on Cardano. Now it's a point of taking the cream of that crop and helping to market them to draw in users. That's what needs to happen from here. You know, Cardano, like every ad, like if you, let's just, like hypothetically, let's say we had a campaign of print ads, okay, across major media. And, you know, it's, I don't know whether maybe it was a dating app that ran on Cardano, but it used midnight side chain for identity so that, you know, everyone on the app is real and they're not bots or scammers or catfish or whatever, right? And everybody's got their own little ID associated with themselves on this little dating app. And then, you know, it could, every ad for that app could easily say powered by Cardano. It's that simple. That's all you got to do. You're promoting the use case, but you're letting everybody know that the underlining layer of that app is Cardano. Then let people draw in questions. Wow, this app's really cool. Holy cow, look at how powerful this is. Look at all the things you could do. I wonder what Cardano is. This is new. I've never seen that. And then they go and they look. And that's the kind of stuff we need to start doing. What goes best with grilled cheese? Well, tomato soup, I guess, is the big one, especially if you've got a cold. And otherwise, like a pickle, I guess. I don't know. I just like grilled cheese by themselves. ICP or Algorand, which would you push for AI integration on Cardano? Why not both? Why not both? That's kind of the beauty of Cardano, right? I mean, everything is about interoperability. There's no reason why all blockchains can't utilize a lot of the feature sets built into Cardano, especially its security. You know, Ouroboros and basically the underlying primary layers of Cardano are what a lot of these other projects are signing up for. So they can take advantage of the POS security that's basically that secures Cardano. And a lot of blockchains don't have anything anywhere close to that. And so, yeah, why can't ICP and Algorand benefit from what Cardano's built and become like side chains, partner chains, or whatever? That's ultimately the goal, is to have everybody basically branching off from Cardano someday. How important do you think VCs are to digital ecosystem? I think VCs are important early on. If a project needs the capital. Cardano didn't. I mean, they had their token launch or whatever in Japan, and they got all these people that bought these ICU or these vouchers. Basically, it wasn't even like they bought tokens. They were buying vouchers to become investors in the blockchain in Japan, and you know, that's how it was initially funded. And you know, I think venture capitalists. Listen, I'm not against venture capitalists. Like without them, we wouldn't have a lot of the major apps. I doubt we would have things like Uber or, I mean, really probably the majority of the projects we have today, even outside of blockchain. Like we wouldn't have any of that. And what's up, Kane? I see you, man. Everything's going pretty well. I see your Instagram. Man, the shit you keep putting out is just funny as hell. I don't know what it is though. You really love kicking little people in your videos. It's pretty funny. But anyway, I don't have any problem with venture capitalists or anything. I have a problem with shady venture capitalists. Like I have a problem with people doing things and trying to get away with stuff in this space because they feel they can. And it's just like, because there's so much gray area and you know, people are trying to do things all the time. And I'm like, I'm the opposite of that. I'm like, I want everyone to do well and all learn together. And like, why does anybody have to lose? Like, I don't know. I have like a weird kind of perspective on things. I think venture capitalists, I don't think all VCs are bad. I really don't. But I think we kind of have an idea as to who some of the really bad ones are and what their goals and motives are. And a lot of them are just like make profit at any cost. And I could never live my life that way. I feel like that's such a hollow life. Yeah, anyway, I still think they're important. I mean, I think good venture capitalist groups with like some moral fiber, if that exists, I think they're important because they're the way people like me can really put together ideas and plans to get properly funded. So yeah, is it true that Cardano's marketing department consists of a janitor's closet, mostly full of equipment, and a sign taped on the door that says marketing? That's funny because I don't even know if they have that. Like, and there's different kinds of marketing, folks. There are different kinds of marketing. You can be marketing to partners. You can be marketing to end users. You can be marketing to a variety of different people. And a decentralized blockchain, it's not going to have a big marketing staff like a movie. Like you have a blockbuster movie and you've got all these PR firms and all these marketing agencies and things that are planning out a campaign over a period of time with X budget. You don't have stuff like that with Cardano, at least not that I've ever seen. I think if we did, we wouldn't have so many people questioning the marketing of Cardano. The bulk of Cardano's marketing have been guys like me on YouTube talking about it, Charles setting up his AMAs, and that's pretty much it. Whatever anybody decides they want to write about in the media, or whatever negative narratives that are attached to some sort of paid materials that another competing blockchain is putting out. I mean, that's pretty much the extent of it. So, have you registered as a DRep already? Yes, I have. I would like to delegate my voting power to you, watching your videos and opinions since 2020. Really like what you're doing. Well, thank you, Alex. See, I appreciate that. And yeah, there's a link down below if you want to delegate, but we're going to have to wait until Eternal 1.12.12 to be able to do that easily. What's next? What use case projects do we have? What kind of exposure will you bring? What kind of exposure will I bring? Bro, where you been? How can and what are we voting for? You can do this. LFG ADA. FSY. Yeah, like what kind of exposure can I bring? You see it. This is it. This is all I got. It is what it is, man. But how can and what are we voting for? Link down below for those that want to vote for me as a DRep. But basically what you're voting is you're just basically saying you trust my opinion and my ability to do due diligence on things, and you trust my outlook on what I believe Cardano to be, what I believe it should be, and to basically vote based off of those things. Like, you are okay with me. You want to empower me to be your voting voice in the grand scheme of all things Cardano moving down the line. That's basically what becoming a DRep or voting for a DRep is. Explain TPS for Cardano. Oh my God, I've explained this so many times. I wonder if there's a creative way of doing it a different way so that I'm not repeating myself all the time. I doubt it. So let's say, let's see. Here, we'll use a stick of gum. How's that? All right. And we'll use my hand. All right. Now this is not supposed to be a pun. Okay. But let's just say this is a transaction. All right. But I want you to visualize this as a solid stick. Okay. So this solid stick has to go through the pipe. All right. This is the pipe for Cardano. And there's only so many transactions. So many of these will fit through here. That's juicy fruit. There's no way I could rant about anything today. My head would probably blow up and I'd be bedridden for a day. But anyway, so this is a transaction, and this is a pipe, which basically constitutes, a second, I guess. So right now we're at 1 transaction per second. Okay. And Cardano's transaction per second volume is different than everyone else, because ultimately what other blockchains are saying is that they can do, 100 transactions per second, which basically gives them a bigger pipe. All right. so that they can have 100 of these going through that pipe at the same time. What Cardano does is it says, okay, well, we could do 100 transactions per second too, but this isn't just a stick as a transaction, because inside this stick is a whole bunch of stuff, right? So now we've got all kinds of stuff inside this singular transaction. So we've got all sorts of data, NFT transfers, like all sorts of stuff. So now that 100 transactions per second could easily be considered 1,000 or 2,000, right? Because you've got so much data wrapped up into just one transaction. So you're magnifying what your capabilities are. It's still going through the same pipe, but you've got more data within that transaction. Now, outside of that, you add Hydra to the equation. Well, none of these other blockchains have Hydra protocol or anything like it. And what Hydra does is this basically says, okay, rather than you have 100 transactions that's going through the blockchain and going on chain simultaneously in real time, what if you needed to basically do 1,000 transactions, and you're calculating all of the stuff for those transactions, and those transactions are finalized before they hit the blockchain, and then that is basically reduced down into maybe 20 transactions. I think that's kind of the gist. I'm going to have some of the Hydra developers on at some point. We're going to answer, because that one of them told me flat out that I've had Hydra wrong a few times, and I'm like, I don't doubt that. But effectively, Hydra head, if we can do 1,000 of these transactions with a lot of data within each of those transactions, and we can do 1,000 of those on every Hydra head, and one Hydra head is one staking node, and we've got over 3,000 of those. You multiply that 1,000 by 3,000, which is how many transactions per second, multiply that by the number of hours in a day, or multiply 60 times 24, then multiply that number by, you're getting into like hundreds of millions of transactions, okay, in a day. And that's what we're doing. And the thing of it is a lot of people expect that to just happen tomorrow, right? But that's not the way it works, because not only do the applications have to be built with Hydra in mind and how to utilize the benefits of Hydra, but they're just things that have to go into place. It's not like Hydra is turned on and then boom, it's a fire hose or 20 fire hoses being turned on at the same time, speeding everything up. It's a process and it takes time. That's the thing about that's a thing about the differences between Cardano and so much else, if not everything else, is that it's being built to empower developers, empower people in their own right. It's being built to empower developers knowing that it's a secure blockchain that's not going to go down on them. And it's secured by over 3,000 nodes. It's empowering the people because of the decentralized nature of it. The people are empowered to choose who represents them, who makes those decisions, and everything is voted on by over 100 different people ultimately. So every major decision that's made is going to be voted on by a panel of like 100 DReps. It's not going to be centralized control where you've got one king lording over everyone else making these decisions and then hiding all of his shadiness. That's not how any of this stuff works. But a lot of this stuff is still not fully realized or understood by most people. And most people have been programmed since the early days of crypto to expect instant gratification at every turn. And when they don't get that, they shun, they turn their back, and then they start focusing on the things that are a lot more degenerative, that are basically going to give them what they believe to be, solid returns. But in effect, they're supporting things that are ultimately going to hurt them and hurt the space overall. And it's just a matter of time. And then a lot of those people are going to have to look back and say, man, I was an idiot. And then they're just going to push forward like nothing ever happened, because that's what people do like that. It's just like, it's also silly to me, but it is what it is. So I'm going to cover more of these questions in a future AMA. I want to get to some of you guys in the live chat now, because I've been ignoring a lot of you guys for a while, and it's time to look. Let's see. Is the audio okay? I assume it is. Crow versus Alex Becker. I don't know what you mean by that. I don't even know. Oh shit. Am I okay? Hold on. What's happening? All right, there's that. Okay. I think maybe my internet is a little bit slow. I'm not sure. Crow versus Alex Becker, karate combat. Love to see Becker get his mouth smashed by Crow. Yeah, I don't even know what weight class Alex Becker is, but I'm assuming he's not more than 185 pounds, which I mean, according to all the chat, I made a 245-pound man look like a child. So I don't think a 185-pound man is going to really cut it. Honestly, I just weighed myself. I've been like 290 again. I've got to start cutting back down and losing again. I'm definitely not in fight shape at all. And I've just been so busy. I've been so stressed out. I've had so much stuff. You can tell my face is fat again. And I'm just like a big fat old man right now. I'm not anything for anybody. Even my wife last night, she was rubbing my stomach. We were laying down watching a movie. And I'm like, if you rub it hard enough, you can make a wish. It might come true. And she always gives me shit when I feel like kind of down on myself. Because she's like, I think this, I think that, and you know this, and you know that. And I'm like, but you're different. I take care of you, you take care of me. You know what I mean? It's kind of different when you're married. But it's just like I have been feeling good. I've had headaches like crazy. I've had I've just been my CPAP. I had to replace my CPAP mask because I felt like death. I would wake up, I felt like I didn't sleep all night. And it was going on for like a week or two. And I'm like, what is happening? What is wrong with me? And then finally I swapped out my little pillow thing. And then suddenly I had like, it took about 2 days. And then man, like 2 days later, I'm up, I'm unpacking, I'm doing all this shit. I had more energy than I've had in, I don't know, months. So wink if you can see these comments, Crow. You look good, my dude. Well, thank you. This was an old comment too, so interesting. Crow, what's going on, Alex? Eric Carlson, LFG, Crypto Chef is in the house as usual. Love my Crypto Chef. Crow your coins. Phil McCracken. Oh shit. I couldn't help it, man. I couldn't help it. I don't even know if that's your real name, but Phil McCracken, that I think of that Maniac Mansion. Zach McCracken. I think that was the game. Hit that subscribe, peoples. Hey, what's going on, Adamar? First gal for Crow. Well, that's cool. That's cool. Thank you. Crow is live. Yes, I'm live. I haven't been live in a while. Matthias, what's going on? Nice to see you in chat. I've been working on so many different ideas on what I want to try and do for content, man. I'm actually just chopping up a whole bunch of shorts again. And I want to start doing reaction videos. I think I want to start reacting to like other people's crypto videos. I'm not doing it in like a negative way, so don't expect me to be like watching videos, calling people out and starting drama and bullshit. That's not what I do. But yeah, like sharing my opinions on what other people are covering, I think it's a really cool deal. And I honestly, because there are a lot of videos I see, especially from smaller YouTubers, that I'm like, you know what? This guy knows some stuff. And you guys know I love to kind of help cultivate newcomers. I love finding people like DB Crypto and his video that just went crazy and all that. I had him on. I'm trying to help him build up. It's like, I know that my channel is only so big, but I also know that I have a lot more power with my videos and just my reputation than a lot of people think. And so, I like trying to use that platform to like help people build a name for themselves. But like Trade Travel Chill, Benjamin Cowan back in the day, you know what I mean? I feel like I kind of discovered Benjamin Cowan to a large extent, because when I found him, he didn't have any viewers, and I'd bring him on and I'd talk about him, and then I'd reference a lot of his videos, and now he's got like 800,000, right? It's just like, and I'm not saying I'm the cause for all that, but I'm saying I like to plant the seeds in the community for people that I believe are worthwhile. Because I watch a lot of videos, I read a lot of stuff. So yeah, man, I don't know. I like that. When will you do an Iagon price prediction? Good question. I don't know. I haven't thought about it. I've been waiting. I'm still working on Crow Score stuff, and like I'm waiting on getting like this base level for Crow Score, so that I can then take pieces of that and expand on each of them. And I want this to be I want this Crow Score thing to be really, 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 really good. And I have to like say, okay, when is enough? Like, what is going to work? What is enough to be like a service? But yeah, I mean, we'll see, because I'm trying to set my Crow Score up in a way that a price prediction is automatically calculated into each report. Yeah, because I think it's possible to an extent. So now, and that could change. Those could change. And the way I want these Crow Score reports to operate is I want them to be almost like living documents. So we'll see. I don't want to get too deep into it, but there's a lot that I'm trying to accomplish with Crow Score. Any Copy news? Are you going to stream you going through Solus Exploring? I did already. I did a little bit, but I am going to be doing it more once we get closer to actually being able to plot our land down. Can we only use Eternal? Yeah, I think right now that's the only thing I've seen that gives the functionality for blockchain governance on Cardano is Eternal Wallet, which I really like. Eternal Wallet. There's a lot of stuff there. Have I been live for 50 minutes already? That's insane. Hey Crow, how come everything is so expensive on Cardano? I don't know what you mean. Like, what's expensive? Cardano's down right now. Cardano's on like 31, 32 cents or something like that. I don't know what you mean by it. Everything being expensive. Yo, Crow, long time no see. Glad to have you back. Thanks, Dwango, J G Wango, or is it Ywango? I don't know. Are you going to be a DRep in the end? Yes, I'm going to be a DRep. I am going to be a DRep, and I take it actually quite seriously. Hey, Crow, honest opinion about Charles' video during driving his Lambo. Listen, so many of you guys think that like Charles is driving off in the sunset with his billions in his Lambo. He's not. He's not going anywhere. Like, Charles hasn't been fired. He's not leaving his company, people. He's just basically, a lot of what he's trying to say right now is that the control is in your hands. He's not saying like it's done, peace, drops the mic, I'm out. That's not what he's trying to say. I think a lot of what he's trying to do, if I'm to guess, this is something he's been building for 10 fucking years. Like, this isn't something that's like, even though think of it like sending your kid off to college, right? Like, you've spent all these years raising your child, trying to prepare them for the world and how screwed up it is. You're trying to tell them stay away from purple hair dye. You don't want to lose your mind. And then they're like, okay, time for me to go and be somebody. And you're like, okay, get out there and be somebody. It's not like you're not still in their lives. It's not like you're not still there, readily, working to continue helping them. Right. It's just like, okay, well, you're in the hands of the college now. You're in the hands of the, your first job or your group of friends or whatever. It's like, okay, you're in their hands now. I'm here when you need me. I'm going to help try to guide you as best I can with the power that I have, or whatever power you allow me to have. Right. It's like, how many of you have teenagers? They get older. They think they know everything all of a sudden, and they don't want to listen to shit. Right. And it's like, but then you've got some kids that are like, they love and respect you, and they see what you do, and that they know that you care about them. And so they come to you for guidance because they trust you, and they know that you got their best interests in heart. Or you got the rebellious little asshole that just wanted, like, they only want to talk to you when they want something, or like whatever. And they're just like, I don't really care about you, but I know that, I want something from you, so I'll say hi. Right. Like, it's just like, that's kind of where I think Charles is at, where he's like, listen, I spent 10 years building this. We finally launched Chang. We still have another like phase to go for Chang before it's 100%. But it's all of these phases are now basically taking Cardano to a point where Cardano's not at the behest of Charles at this point. And once the governance system's really in place with all of the DReps and everybody's in order, it's like, all Charles could do at that point is propose things to all of us to vote on. So it's not like he's sitting around, you know, as like king and crowned in a throne, basically dictating what's coming next, what's happening next. And that's a really big deal. And he's like, listen, you know, I spent 10 years building this. And yeah, he's driving down a road in his Lambo. Like, good for him. I can't fit in a Lambo, so it doesn't mean shit to me. But yeah, it's not like Charles is leaving and he's like, okay, see you when you're grown. Like, that's not what this is, folks. You guys are super dramatic about a lot of this stuff. I have some troubles loading data lists. I'm sure you do, and that's because it takes a while. I have not. I just resynced my data list wallets, and it took a day, over a day. I started the night before. I disconnected when I went to bed. I came back in the next morning, restarted it up. Took all afternoon. It takes time. If you haven't logged in and if you're not keeping your data list wallets synced up on a regular basis, it will take hours. You're downloading the entire Cardano blockchain when you're using Daedalus. For those of you that don't know, when you're using the Daedalus wallet, you are quite literally downloading the entire blockchain and syncing that before anything is possible. So yeah, it's okay. It's just how it is. It's not like Yoroi or NAMI wallet or Eternal where you're just kind of logging in and you're not downloading the blockchain, syncing the blockchain, any of that. These satellite wallets, as I call them, are just basically pumping information into the blockchain and pulling it out, but it's not downloading the entire thing. It's not like running in its own node all at the same time. I never get why Ethereum's price, when using it, is so expensive that couldn't last, and then people would stop using it. I'm not sure what you're saying there. Not sure what you're saying there. When it comes to investing, you got to have a minimum mindset of 10 years. In the grand scheme of things, sure, that is true. In blockchain, we've learned that instant gratification isn't necessarily uncommon. So we've grown to expect it quite a bit. And yeah, Matthias, try stopping and restarting. If that doesn't work, maybe take a look at how much free RAM you have available. Yeah, thanks, Alex. That's my cousin in the chat, helping out. He might be taller than me now. I don't even know. Alex, are you over 7 foot yet? He has like the deepest voice you're ever going to hear in a human being, though. I can tell you that. He should be doing voiceovers for like some sort of cartoon villain. I think I'm the only one that followed the direction on your last video. Well, thank you. You'll be a great DRep. Thanks, J Coco. I honestly, I think so too. I think I'd be pretty good at it. Crow, you should be a DRep. It makes sense since you've been a real promoter of Cardano. Yeah, I think so. Crow, much love, man. Yo, why is BitBoy a hater lately? Man, I don't know. I stopped caring about what BitBoy says. I've supported him for so many years, man, and he's just taken a turn, and he's just gotten so just nasty, man. I don't even know. Honestly, it sucks. It really does suck because I really like BitBoy a lot. Even my wife was like, "You need to just stay away from him. He sounds like bad news nowadays." And he's always got drama, and he's always chasing the dragon, and always stirring things up, and always creating drama if it does. And I'm just like, no, he's fine. He's just really stressed out. He's got all these people really screwing him over, and I've learned a little bit, and I'm just like, you know what? It's best just to leave him alone. I don't care what he has to say about Cardano. I really don't. I know that he's got his reasons. He went from being really bullish, really all about it, to like the guys that took his company over basically taking all of his Cardano, and then him trying to create some clickbait engagement video that made it look like he was taking a shit on Cardano when he wasn't. But that pissed off Charles, and Charles called him out on it. And I'm thinking, oh no, what's happening? And it's just like out of nowhere, it was just like this big barrel of toxicity that has now become him just doing anti-Cardano videos all the time. I'm just like, you know what? I can't even keep up. I don't even care anymore. I really don't. To each their own. I saw parts of a stream where he's like talking trash about Cardano, and I'm like, you know what, man? More power to you. I don't even know what else to say. Guy's bitter and angry about a lot of different things. Some things that people just couldn't help, and it's just, he's got a mindset that's just like, you just got to let him go. You just got to leave him alone. If you enjoy watching his channel, more power to you. Take what you can out of it. and leave the rest. But I personally don't give a shit anymore. I just don't. I've got better things to do than worry about what not even just Ben, just like a lot of these other YouTubers out there, man. Like I watch a lot of these guys, whether I like them or not. I just to get an idea. And I don't sit around calling people out. I don't sit around like bad mouthing a lot of people. I just don't like doing that. It's like it's toxic. And if anything, to have that kind of mindset just eats at you and makes your life worse. And it's just like, I've got better shit to do than worry about that. But like I've watched was it Crypto Banter? I watch them and I sit there and every time they start talking about Solana this, Solana that, I just want to throw up in my mouth because I'm like, how do you guys do this with a straight face? But that's my opinion. And sometimes I wonder, like, am I the bad guy because I'm faulting other people for something that they are passionate about, that they believe in? Yeah, I've just learned you just got to let people just be who they're going to be, man. And like, there's nothing you're going to do to change them. And it is what it is. That's it. I don't know. So yeah, I mean, bringing up BitBoy to me on this channel anymore, it's like we used to be friends, man, but he just turned. I don't know what else to say. He turned, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. So I just leave him alone. I only like people in my life that I feel are mature and trustworthy and genuine. And if he had said something like, what, this happened, that happened, whatever, I think technically Cardano is, I don't know, like if he had like legitimate reasons and like, maybe he reached out to me and he's like, hey, Jason, man, like I've been thinking this, that, and another thing about Cardano. I'm just not so sure about it anymore. Whatever. Like, what are your thoughts? And like, we have a talk about it. And then he like came to the conclusion, like, what, Cardano's just not for me. And I'm not saying he owes me anything. Like, I'm not saying like, that's what you got to do. You got to come to King Cardano over here and approve your doubts before, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, I just feel like so much of it is disingenuine. That's all. I feel like so much of it comes from an empty, hollow, angry, bitter place. And a lot of it is shit that he brought on himself. Like, I mean, let's be real about it. I mean, he said stuff to me that I know I didn't bring on. Like, I'm like, you know what, dude, you're just on your own little world, and like, more power to you. But that's all I have to say about it. Like, maybe someday he'll come around. Maybe to some of these number go up, folks, maybe when Cardano's number go up, maybe everybody will turn around and like, you know what, I was wrong. We'll see a bunch of videos, people are like, I was wrong about Cardano, and then it'll go into how they were wrong and what's changed and all of that. I mean, listen, half of the shit you see about Cardano anymore is about engagement anyway. Half of these people don't even know what the hell they're talking about. They just want to talk about Cardano because the community is so big that they need the engagement. And that's really what it boils down to. I see so many new channels trying to build themselves up off of Cardano content. And it's like, great. I'm not even knocking it. Really, I'm not. But I'm like, we all know that, back when I started and I was doing these videos about Cardano in 2017, I would get flamed and trolled and everything back then. I've had to fight off trolls and monsters and everything since day one. And that's never really stopped, right? We still see it all the time. It's just now a lot of them found a home with Solana. So it's like, that's what's happened. And it is what it is. Honestly, it pains me. It legitimately pains me to even talk about it because it's sad. It's sad. Because I have legitimately always had like kind of a weird place in my heart for Ben. I really have. My wife knows it. It's just like I think about the Ben that was like, creating those animated videos, and it was just like he was trying so hard to like get ahead and grow, and he was so humble and sweet and cute. And I don't mean that in like a demasculine way, or like he was such a good dude, and he was a cool dude to have around and a cool dude to talk to. And it's just like, man, he started that TikTok channel about dark web shit and he blew up, and then everything just changed like overnight. It's just sad. Because I don't know what good has come of it for him or really anyone else at that point. But anyway, all right, I'm done talking about it. I'm done talking about it. Oh, in any election, there needs to be ethical and morality testing. Yeah, let's go, Crow. What's this? All my ADA delegated to Crow. You have my vote. Well, thanks. Tim takes on. I appreciate that. Um, yeah, I know. I see a lot of your guys' BitBoy comments. I'm just not gonna address them anymore. Like I've said my piece. I'm done. I don't even really want to talk about them anymore, honestly. Um, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I hope he does well. You know, I hope everything works out for him. I really actually do. And I'm hoping that it really kind of turns him around again to the Ben that I used to know. Somebody that I used to know. Jason, get your boy Ben. He's doing his thing. Trying to poke Charles again. I mean, okay. I didn't even realize that's what that was. It's because it feeds its young milk. Yeah, go on, Crow. Be a DRep. You'd have my vote. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I'm going to be doing a video. I'm going to be doing a video at some point where I go over like days, time frames, things like that. What's going on in the market? Are we down from where we should be? You know, like just try to understand what's happening in the space because I feel like so many people are confused and I haven't looked in a while. You know, I personally think I feel like that new all-time high of Bitcoin really threw everybody mentally out of whack. That's what I think. I think that threw everybody out of whack and people's expectations of what's next is all wrong because in the time frames everything is all wrong. And so I'm gonna do a video that'll probably be my next video where I talk about that. So yeah, that's it for now. I've got more to cover in another video, but I need to get back to work. I can't believe I've been live an hour. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Hopefully you guys get something out of this video today. And I'll be back again. What is today? Wednesday? Maybe I'll try to do something Friday at the very least. And I'm going to get back to a point where I'm doing daily content, but it's just like, what is there to talk about? It's the same shit right now. Until the market really starts to turn around, I'm looking at the month of September as kind of a pseudo vacation. So honestly, I'm like looking at it as an opportunity to get unpacked, get reestablished, get situated, plan out what I want the future to be, you know, all of that. So until next time, thanks for joining me, guys. Crow your coins, and I'll see you soon.